This week, what is the future of RV power looking like? We're talking solar and batteries with Andrew Huett of OzXCorp. I talked about them in the past. I got to meet them at the annual RV manufacturers show, and I was very excited about what they offered, and I'm so happy to have Andrew on the show. Plus, it's Thanksgiving, and this is our thankful episode. This is RV Miles.
This winter, LL Bean wants to help you get outfitted for all that's out there with tips and advice for heading outdoors and exploring all the possibilities of the season. The best way to make your time outside comfortable in winter is to learn how to layer properly. That's as easy as 1, 2, 3. First, pick a base layer that keeps your skin dry and wicks moisture. Second, add an insulating middle layer that keeps heat in. Third, cover it all with a water and wind resistant outer layer that keeps the winter weather out. For more fun ideas, easy how-tos, and inspiring stories, visit llbean.com/guide.
Welcome to episode number 258 of RV Miles. I am Jason.
And I'm Abby. And we are two full-time travelers who, along with our three boys, Jack, Ethan, and Henry, have been crisscrossing North America on one epic road trip since 2016. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from industry news to travel destinations, our national parks, and a whole lot more.
This episode, as I mentioned, we're talking with Andrew Huett of OzXCorp, which is they're manufacturing a total system, a total electrical system to completely electrify trailers and motorhomes. Not driving, so not turning a motorhome into an electric motorhome, but your air conditioning, your stovetop, all that sort of stuff, and really doing it in a smart, efficient way that is easy for manufacturers to put in. But Andrew, we talk about their product, of course, a bit, but he's also talking to us about the future of RV energy, and it's very exciting stuff. So stick around for that. But first, this is Thanksgiving week, and this is our annual thankful episode where we one of our kids' favorite things, believe it or not, our kids, especially our oldest Jack, they are those kids that really love at Thanksgiving to go around the table and be like, this is what I'm thankful for this year. They make sure that we don't forget it. So we like to do that a bit here. And if you don't mind, I would like to kick it off.
Oh, boy.
Well, with the kindness of strangers, essentially. We had the wildest experience recently. So we were camping at the Oliver Lee State Park in Alamogordo, New Mexico, right? And we recorded several videos and stuff, and I was editing outside, and apparently I dropped a memory card for the camera on the ground. Mm-hmm. And the couple that came in the site after us not only found it, but had the ability to put it in a computer and see what was on it. And it was a couple episodes of this podcast actually that were on it. And they messaged me on Facebook or Instagram and said, we found this memory card. Believe it or not, this is going to sound weird, but we pulled into the site after you and we found this memory card that has your face on it. We'd be happy to get it back to you somehow. And it turned out we were heading to Tucson and they were heading to Tucson, and we were going to meet up and they were going to hand it over because these things are like $60. It's frustrating how expensive memory cards are. So that it turned out I forgot and didn't reconnect with them while we were in Tucson. So weird enough that somebody found the memory card and was able to message me about it. Also, that a couple at that Tucson campground, as we talked about last week, was a couple that we had saw at the City of Rocks campground. But we leave the Tucson KOA. Mm-hmm. And we head to a harvest host for one night in Kingman, Arizona. It was the Desert Diamond Distillery. Great harvest host stop. by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You will not leave there without spending a decent amount of cash, unless you're not into.
Unless rum is not your
They're known for their
thing.
rums.
So-
They make whiskeys as well, but they're known for their rums. So we're sitting inside the distillery, and a guy walks up to us with a memory card in his hand and hands it to me and is like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
But I think this is yours. How crazy is that? So this Harvest Host, maybe there were 4 or 5 RVs staying there that night.
There were 5 of us, yeah.
Including us and our friends. How crazy that one night Harvest Host stop, the same couple that found that memory card was also staying at that Harvest Host on the same night, and they kept it and handed it over.
It was shocking.
I mean,
It was shocking.
And they happened to come into the place while we were in there. They might not have, we might not have even seen each other,
Well, in all fairness, we were in there for a very long time.
We did a couple tasting flights. It was
We weren't just in that distillery for 5 minutes. The gentleman that runs the place was awesome, and they were very comfortable with you bringing in food on that particular day because he was short-staffed, so they weren't doing food offerings. So we were able to. They had us go to a table. We brought in some lunch. We did a couple of tastings, had some cocktails, played cards with our friends. The kids were in and out too. I mean, it was very lovely and chill and just really wonderful sort of like community event.
Yeah.
Like other Harvest Hosts, were coming in and we were chatting. And so we weren't just in there for 5 minutes and they spotted us. We'd been there for
That's
a
true.
while.
That's true. It would be hard to miss us if you came in at any point in the evening. Yeah.
Yes, we pretty much closed the place down.
In general, just the kindness of strangers in the RV community. So often, you'll see somebody who is having a problem with getting a slide in at a campground, and there are others that are nearby willing to help. And look, there are all types of folks that do this, so there are some grumps and cranks as well. But it is so great that that when you arrive at a campground, you can count on the fact that there's probably somebody there that can help you if you need help. And I just love that about this lifestyle. Also, the world is a lot smaller than we think. We've learned that time and time again over the course of this year when we keep seeing people in campgrounds that we've seen before.
Especially this time of the year when you're in the Southwest and West, where a lot of us are headed in order to stay away from the cold.
Yeah.
All right, so my turn. I think we're going to do 2 each.
Yeah.
Let's see how this goes, unless we talk too long, and then maybe we'll just do 1. So mine this time around is I am thankful for the continued health of our family, and I am incredibly thankful for the medical team at Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago. They have absolutely revolutionized Henry's care for us this year. And this is the very first time that I have felt in a long time that our son is on his way to a very healthy and productive life where this is what he's dealing with is not going to own him forever. And that kind of hope is truly like something that you can't put into words. Like, I just don't know how to express it. So I just want to say I'm thankful for all of our essential workers. I'm thankful for everyone in the medical field. I am particularly thankful for Henry's team over at Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, not only for the care that they are giving him, but for the support that they are giving us towards the lifestyle that we lead. And it hasn't always felt that way in the past.
Yeah.
And we haven't always felt supported. It has sort of felt the opposite. Like it is our fault in some cases that he, these are the struggles that he has. And so that is top of mind when I was thinking about the things that I was thankful for in the year 2022, continued health and an incredible medical team, top of the list.
Okay.
All right, what's your second one?
My second one is something I never thought I would say, and I think I might have said this last year, or the year before too, but it's still something I never thought I would say. But traveling with other people.
Oh, you stole mine. That's not
I knew
fair.
you were going to say that.
Oh, that's why I should have gone first.
But
Darn
hey,
it.
you had an option. You could have said that. So, I never. There are so many folks out there, especially full-time families that travel, they caravan, they follow each other, they go from campground to campground together. And I always thought that was weird, something that I would never really be interested in doing.
You are such an introverted person. That, yes.
And then, when the pandemic hit, we met a family that we traveled with extensively through that time. We've since separated from them, but have been able to go back and see them recently, which was fantastic. And over the course of the past year, we've been extensively traveling with another family who we will be with for up until at least the end of next summer. And they're all wonderful people. They have kids that get along with our kids and they can play together. And again, it's like a community of helpfulness where we can help each other out. We can explore together. We can show each other new things. And I've just been so happy to be able to travel with them, because it does get a little lonely sometimes traveling full time as just your family. You do want to have interactions with other people, and you want to have good ones. And it's nice to be able to count on that.
Yeah. And I will say, and I think we were talking about this at the distillery on Saturday night, and I think Jamie put it best, and it really really stuck with me, is that she said, it's the family you get to pick.
Yeah.
And that, we love our family, don't get us wrong, but there is something really magical about forming connections with people that just so happen to come through your path, and through, whatever circumstances, you all are able to get to know each other and then really form an incredible bond. And that's special. It's not for everybody, but you know it when you know it. Like, when you meet those people and you just know it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I am so excited for everything that is coming in the next year. I'm bursting.
Some cool stuff coming up.
I'm bursting, and we cannot talk about it yet, but hopefully very soon. And hopefully like we do every year towards the end of a year, we always kind of look forward to the coming year. We talk about like what we have planned. That's kind of, if all the pieces can fall into place, that's when we get to talk about it, and then hopefully start getting some much needed recommendations from all of you wonderful people out there. All right.
We can kind of call that a joint one if you want.
No.
You got another one? I got another one if you want.
I have another one.
Okay.
And I am thankful that this year, we'll continue this theme of family, that I am thankful this year that our family and you and the kids have really supported and embraced what was my need to stay west this year for the holidays, because I know what that asked of everybody. And I needed this, and I've talked about this. I needed a break from driving back to the Midwest and hauling that rig back up there and going through the motions of what all that entails for the holiday season. Camping in, extreme cold, below freezing, moving out of the rig for long periods of time, just the constant go, go, go.
Yeah.
And
listen, I hate moving out of the RV.
I know you do.
So,
I know
and
you do.
And I love the West.
And but I do feel that I was heard. Like you really listened to me, and you heard what I was saying, and our family did as well. And no one has ever, made us feel guilty, because I know it's so much to, ask the grandparents to not see the grandkids, because it's not very easy for them to travel to us, just like it's not easy for us to get back there. There's a lot of factors that come into play. So unfortunately, we're not going to see everyone over the holiday season. They're just not able to come and meet us in the West. It will give us an opportunity, though, to see my brother, who we have not been able to spend a Christmas with in a very long time, because he lives in the LA area. So I'm just really thankful that we could do this, and that everyone that it kind of impacts is finding inside our little small family here is really loving it and embracing it and enjoying these nice warm temps and being out in this part of the country. But then all of our really beautiful family back home is not making me feel like a doofus, mean Scrooge for, keeping us all out this way. All right. What's your next one?
So my next one is our home. Our Sabre 37 FLL has been just great for us over a little more than a year now. And our friends just bought an Airstream, which is wonderful. And it's
so beautiful.
It is very beautiful. And they've moved from their 38-foot fifth wheel, 36-foot, I'm not sure, into the Airstream, and we've been watching them go through that process. And
we should also say we've been helping. We haven't just been standing at the window. Like, wow, that looks difficult over there.
And believe me, love it. But also, when I come back in here and look at the Sabre, I just remember like how great this setup is for our family, which is a little bit bigger than theirs, to have a family of 5 where the kids each have a sleeping position, and where we have this big open space in the front where we can hang out. This has just been a great home for us for this point in our lives. It might not always be that way, but it has been until now.
All right, I'm going to give one last one and then we are going to take a break. And as we do every year, I think it goes without saying how incredibly thankful we are for you, the RV Miles community, and how every single year you embrace our quirks, you embrace our lack of schedule, and you embrace the different things that we try, and that you just embrace us for who we are. And in turn, we hope that we are able to serve and provide content or just enjoyment that keeps you coming back. And I have to say that this year, it felt like things at RV Miles really just blossomed into what we have always wanted it to be. And because of that, now we are going to have these opportunities where more RV consumer driven content is really going to kind of get to come front and center in what we do in 2023. And we're going to be able to just make good on some things we've had sitting on the back burner for so long. And we could never do that without all of you. The fact that every single week you allow us into your homes, you allow us to share a little part of our lives, and that you care about us and you care about our children is just really, really special. So we are so thankful for you and everything that you have given us in 2022.
We also couldn't do it without the support of our sponsors and without you being there to listen to their message. And we're going to do that right now. So let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk with Andrew Huett of OzXCorp about the electrification of RVs. Be right back.
Be right back.
Chances are you've seen them on the road. That's because Blue Ox designs and manufactures the best towing products in the industry. Just look around, you'll find them on highways and campgrounds and anywhere you find people traveling in the great outdoors. Award-winning tow bars, base plates, and brakes, a full line of weight distributing hitches, adjustable ball mounts, and a new line of fifth wheel hitches. With Blue Ox, towing doesn't have to be a drag. To learn more about how Blue Ox can make your travel adventures even more stress-free, visit blueox.com.
This episode is supported by ParkWolf, the ultimate app for visiting U.S. national parks. With ParkWolf, you can view upcoming places and amenities as you drive through the park, locate the nearest gas, food, bathrooms, and pullover points. ParkWolf's wildlife maps show you the best times and places to see or avoid wildlife, along with a feed of the latest wildlife sighting photos from the parks. ParkWolf even makes it possible for you to view your live location and direction on official park maps while staying up to date on current NPS alerts and advisories. ParkWolf keeps working even if you lose service. To learn more, download the ParkWolf app for iPhone free from the Apple App Store today.
My guest today is Andrew Huett, who is from OzXCorp, or OzXCorp as they're referred to in Australia, which is a company that is looking to bring trailer, specifically electrification, to the States. We talk a lot about who's going to bring the first electric motorhome to the market. And maybe that's a little further down the future than what can already happen with trailers, which are 90% of the US RV market out there. And I had the pleasure of getting an overview of their products at the RV industry open house back in September, and they've developed a really great system for manufacturers to drop and play into RVs and really turn them into electric beasts that can do pretty much everything electrically. So, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's start off with talking about the Australian market for RVs, which is a little bit different than the US. There's a lot more wide open space there. Everything seems a little bit more rugged, I think, from this side of the world. Why is off-gridding so big there, and why has all electric been able to take off?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. I think all electric in Australia has certainly taken off, really because the mainland of Australia is, practically speaking, the same size as the United States, but with only 24 million people, inhabitants, and so it's a very vast open space. It's there's 100 miles where you won't see another person anywhere, and the reality is that the infrastructure is far less more sophisticated than it would be in the US. So off-gridding and being off-grid is just part of traveling around Australia. It's also a reality in that there's so much to see around Australia that you need to be practically off-grid. And so there's always been a big push, historically for many years, to always equip your travel trailer and RV, a motorized RV, with what would be the leading power systems that get you off the grid. Many water tanks, spare tires, super equipped four-wheel drives and pickup utes. The Australian landscape has sort of demanded that if you want to explore, you need to be a lot more robust, and you need to be a lot more off-grid. And that's the off-grid community here is 60% of all sales in Australia. So, I think the US might be significantly less, or it is significantly less, but 60% of all new travel trailers in Australia are off-road, off-grid.
I think one of the things that's exciting a lot of people that might not have been interested in the US before is now there's been so much investment going into campgrounds and RV parks over this big boom that we've had in the last couple of years. And unfortunately, a lot of that investment is just taking old campgrounds and making them fancier and putting water parks and zip lines in. And that's great for those people that want that. But as it gets harder and harder to get a campsite, people are more excited about the ability to sort of camp wherever they want to camp. So in the past, that has always been traditionally done with fossil fuels for the most part. If you want to heat, you use propane. If you want electricity, you might run a generator. So you all have been able to start really transforming that aspect of the off-grid experience, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's sort of, as a travel trailer kind of guy myself, I've traveled all around the mainland US and mainland Australia, that is. US is next. But mainland Australia is that, it's really, really difficult to find propane sometimes. And if you don't manage all your assets carefully, you might run out of propane, you run out of hot water, and you could be driving, again, another 100 miles to have a shower, or you just go and have a cold shower. And I think what it is that there's a big picture there in that you're right. The caravan parks have always been there to offer amenities. Whether it's the US or Australia, they've got amenities, they've got great showers, they've great pools, and also great culture, right? And I think people will never stop going to caravan parks. Certainly there's an overbooked demand of caravan parks that is, I wouldn't say driving people away, but it's giving people the opportunity to rethink what caravanning and camping is. And I think also that when you're off grid and you're out in the bush or you're out with nature, that's actually what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to disconnect from the artificial, and you're trying to place yourself into the surreal, the real part of nature. And I think a big part of that is that again, caravan parks are an amazing place, and you'll always bounce through them. But the ability to get off grid and to electrify and run from nature is ultimately sort of I think the goal when you're out boondocking or out dry camping is that you're able to have a hot shower that's made from the sun. You're able to not worry about propane. You're able to disconnect if you want to, or if you want to, you can book a caravan park. The choice will be yours when you're electrified, but when you're connected to the fossil fuel system, you have to go back and get fossil fuels. So it's, for me as an RVer and as a camper, this has never been about trying to get away from caravan parks. They're amazing places, and the culture and the people you meet there are absolutely amazing. It's a fundamental part of traveling. But the disconnection allows you to make that choice, and make that choice in not a skimpy way, but actually make it so you can enjoy the conveniences being off grid.
So this isn't really about the world moving towards electrification for vehicles because of lack of energy resources and for political reasons and all of those things. It's more about really doing something that works better.
Yeah, look, there's probably 10 inputs, and we can all choose. There's CO2 savings, there's disconnection from fossil fuels, there's the ability to make decisions to go remote. I think the reality is that whatever we do in the RV sector is always caught up in the sandstorm of automotive. The reality is our sector, even though we consider it big, the reality is that we always follow suit behind automotive, 10 plus years. Automotive drives down the cost of electrification and makes it accessible for us. And I think the reality is that it's a good choice to electrify for the environment because the energy is there. The energy is coming from the sun. We can use that. We can harness that now in a cost-effective battery, thanks again to the bus times of automotive and also energy storage. And we're leveraging off that to get a perfect storm for all RVs to give them the right result when they go off grid. So, there's multiple inputs and all of them make sense. But again, when we talk about us as being RVs, what we're really trying to say is we want the choice to be independent. We want the choice to actually have a proper hot shower that comes from the sun. But if we want propane, we can go get it. Or if we want a gas barbecue or propane barbecue, we can still do that. So we're just opening up more choice and more professional choices for you to do more in your RVing experience.
So that's a great example there. So propane heats very effectively, whether you're cooking with it or whether you're heating the inside of your cabin. So what can people expect from all electric trailers? Can we expect to be able to have heat sources and air conditioning powered by batteries in the sun?
Yeah, so there is a delicate balance, and certainly when you go all electric, contrary to belief, it's not a nuclear power plant. It has limitations, and I think what it is that once you learn to understand the energy that you draw in from the sun, comes into your solar panels, it gets funneled through, gets stored in your battery, or you can use that solar directly as onto your loads. The reality is, once you learn to balance what comes in and what goes out, you find a good working environment. If you put the air conditioner on 24 hours a day and only have a couple of solar panels, the battery will go flat. So again, pure solar RVing is more akin to those spring, summer months, probably the more volume part of RVing. If you go to Alaska in winter, you're certainly going to struggle. And the reality is in this current time with energy density of batteries and the inability to get enough energy from the sun, you need alternatives like diesel heating, which is very effective, diesel heating, propane heating, or there's other technology that we're working on, which is a micro turbine that can run on multi-fuel diesel or A1 or anything like that allows you to not only generate power but also create heating at the same time and store that in the battery. So, we're working on different options because we know that everyone can bang on about all electric, and it is amazing. We've got many people fully off grid, but the reality is there is limitations, and we need to find the right combination in engineering to give them power and heating for those colder months. Or let's be honest, sometimes there's 10 days of really bad weather, and you got to bridge that, right?
So what have you all been able to accomplish? What is the reality right now if somebody is purchasing an all-electric RV?
So again, we've been able to accomplish a lot of milestones, certainly in the Australian market. And as you know, Jason, we met in the US, and we're launching our products into the US as we speak. And so I think, when we get down to the actual ability to go all electric, what you can expect is that it's dependent on your solar array. So when you go all electric, we really work with RV manufacturers to declutter that roof. That roof space is your space. And when you buy an RV and that roof is cluttered, you're forever and a day losing power. So you want your OEM, you want your manufacturers to have maximized the solar array to harness for every day that you purchase a van as much energy as possible. So on a typical 19-foot van, which is quite small, you can go all electric, and you can have electric hot showers. You can have electric barbecues. You can, in the spring and summer months, do whatever you want without holding back too much. So air conditioning right through the day. You can do some heating in the morning to take the chill off the air. And as you grow bigger and bigger, so if we choose like a 22 to a 24 foot, there are people in Australia that are indefinitely off grid and may or may not choose to plug in to give their battery a charge. But those solar arrays and those roofs are working so effectively that it's not just spring now, right through even the winter months in Australia, and our winter's more mild than the US. These people are successfully living off grid and choosing to do what they want to do without any sort of compromise. So don't expect in winter to run your air conditioner 24 hours a day. Of course, you've got to use some common sense. But if it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit or warmer, then certainly an all-electric 24-foot van will do the majority of what you need it to do and be satisfied. And I think also importantly, never forget, if you run out of or run low on electricity, there's many power points available to charge from, whether it's 15 amp, 30 amp, 50 amp split phase. You can charge from them. So you can always just give it a prop up and then get on your way again. So you're not always high and dry. You can manage your resources, which is coming from the sun, but you can also give it a charge as you want.
So I think this is where what you folks have put together gets exciting to me, because all of that you've been able to do that for a while. A lot of people are putting in, a dozen 100 amp hour lithium batteries and taking up all sorts of space in their RV to do so, with all the charge controllers and monitoring systems and the cabling and everything that goes with that. It's very hard for a manufacturer to spend the time and money to do that and to have the labor to be able to do that. If you go aftermarket and have it done, it can cost you $30,000 and they have to tear up your RV to do it. What you guys have done is built a system that is drop it ready and plug and play, it seems like to me. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, look, I think the concept mentally started 11 years ago, right? I was out travel trailing around Australia, and we needed air conditioning. It was very, very hot. You couldn't sleep, and so I connected my car's air conditioning through garbage bags and did a MacGyver and connected that into the trailer to try and keep the trailer cool. And it's at that point that I realized that the industry needed to have a more sophisticated power system, and it needed to go have the ability to go all electric to get you away from those fuel resources. And so my background's 11 odd years in automotive manufacturing in terms of product and electronic design, HVAC controllers, all those electronic bits and pieces and software. And I thought that 11 years ago, it's time for the industry to change. But not that I wanted to change it by getting bits of batteries. I wanted to use an automotive sense in that the system is engineered. And I always use the analogy of a vehicle, because it's probably the most common that everyone can relate to, is that You can certainly achieve amazing results with aftermarket systems. A battery from this company and an inverter from this company, and you put all these parts together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You put it together, and you can create an amazing system. But the analogy is that when you jump in your vehicle, and you don't even think about it, when you jump in your vehicle, you turn the key and it starts every time. It's unlikely you actually curse your vehicle every time. The reality is all those engineers who built that motor, all those engineers who built that gearbox in the fuel tank, they all spoke together to create an amazingly efficient, lightweight, high-performing system for your vehicle. And when you get in it, it just works every time. And so there's nothing wrong with aftermarket parts, but they're all created by different engineers with different systems. And when you put them together, they will work, but they're not finely tuned. And so we set out to make sure we system engineered from start to finish, from the fuel tank, which is the battery, through to the inverter, through to the 12-volt supply, through to even as much as got a cable here, right? Even the cabling between batteries and the inverter itself. Every part is engineered by our team, and every engineer speaks to each other for the ultimate result in performance, in weight, to create what you saw. And I think you can sort of see it just there in the picture. Let me just spin it around. That system there is a complete turnkey power architecture. And by doing that, we've got a very fine-tuned, lightweight result with the batteries external from your living area. Because remember, this is your RV, and you don't walk into your house and have batteries in your foyer. You don't have the fuse box inside your house. Most of the time, you don't. And so we wanted to get the tech outside of your living space, give that back to you, create a lightweight solution, and the lightweight solution we're provided now is very, very efficient at converting solar to load, very efficient in terms of its weight performance, and the battery performance is using automotive-grade lithium. So we're using best-in-class, power-to-weight ratios to ultimately give, what I would expect, an amazing turnkey result that works in any RV or any travel trailer.
I think one of the things I learned from you a bit in Elkhart was that I think a lot of people feel a lithium battery is a lithium battery, and you might as well buy the most cost-effective one for you, and that an inverter is an inverter. And but you really opened my eyes to how many efficiencies can be gained by having a system that is really finely tuned, as you just said. And I think that was one of the most exciting things to me, is that, the idea that you can actually get a little bit more out of a battery. You can get a little bit more out of solar panels if they're designed to work together, where you're using the power from the solar directly instead of converting it to battery power, storing it for later, and losing those inverter efficiencies and all that. But the great thing about what you've done, so you said you've got this giant battery pack, right? I think you've got two sizes. It fits in it goes between the frame rails, right?
Correct. That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So you've got the weight over your axles. You've got I have two 250 amp hour lithium batteries in the pass through of my big 43-foot fifth wheel, and it takes up really honestly half the pass through, along with the inverter charger in there. And so that's just a sort of a massive storage savings. And then the inverter box, I guess, what do you guys call it? Your actual inverter, because it's more than an inverter. It's an inverter charger. It's basically your entire power system minus the batteries, right, in one box.
Yeah, that's right. So we call it DCX.
Okay.
DCX. OzXCorp Extreme. It's we're engineers, so we're not really good at marketing, but we call it DCX. And I guess the main thing is that everything that you probably would have ever wanted for power-related solutions is in that box. We didn't want to compromise on not having certain functions in there. We wanted to make sure that we kept that as neat and tidy as possible to ensure that we did 99% of all that's required for you as an RV, all right? So yeah, DCX is the box, and everything's in there.
And that might scare some people thinking that there are more things to go wrong with one unit. But it's so smart because you just have it clamped to a plate. There's the battery cables plug into it. If there's a problem, you unplug them and you pull it out and get service. It seems to me like it's easier to service than half of our RV electrical systems, because half the time you have to open up a wall to fix something. There's a wall panel I have to pull out in order to get to the backside of the control panel in my RV. And I think that's so smart. You've got it. I think you also have it set up too, so that if something does go wrong, shore power will still run through it, so you can still plug into shore power and everything will work, even if your system goes down.
Yeah, I mean that's right, and I think there's two sides of the story, and one thing for sure, certainly in Australia, is that we're extremely remote from anywhere, and so reliability is number one, and also there's two parts. You either make sure that the product is absolutely completely robust; it would never break down if you've driven it with a tank, which is not reality because things break down. Or you keep your system simple. You have a 12-volt battery and have a light globe and a basic inverter, like a 1,000-watt inverter, and you keep things simple. But the reality is we're heading down this journey, whether we like it or not, where the electrification side of business is getting more complicated. And we had to make sure that not only for the manufacturer that it was easy to put in, not from the battery and the inverter, but you as a consumer need to make sure that you can trust the system, it's reliable, it's got good engineering behind it. But if something goes wrong, just like in a well-engineered vehicle, things go wrong, the ability for you to actually just simply unplug. So, I use the analogy plug and play, but, for you to take that box out and we send you a replacement, it would take you 3 minutes to replace, and you put it back in the old box and leave us with the problem. At the end of the day, the manufacturer needs a good way to put this in. You specifically, and more importantly, need to be able to understand that it's an amazing engineered product. But when things go wrong, and if they go wrong, we can simply just drop these parts out and put a new part in. So whether it's a service dealer or yourself, and no electrician is required. So we wanted to make sure no electrician was required, because if you are remote, you're up in Colorado or somewhere remote, you're not calling an electrician up into the hills. The reality is that you want to simply go to the post office and maybe just swap this thing out and just plug it back in, right? And if we can keep that analogy and keep that system simple, which it is, then actually your experience is improved. So, at the end of the day, we're not shy to tackle everything from the ground up and from a blank canvas, because, we've got the privilege of starting with a blank canvas. But ultimately, the result that we're trying to achieve is to make sure that you as an RVer have not just a good experience, but an amazing experience with our system. And that it's simple and easy, it's lightweight and it's compact, and it's engineered by all the same engineers.
Well, let's be honest too. This type of technology was never going to be widely accepted by the manufacturers, were it not easy to install, and where they have the trust that it can be easily maintained. Because that's a big challenge. I mean, when you go watch an RV being manufactured, the amount of time and energy spent on putting the electrical systems in is huge. And while I assume putting a system like yours in is going to be more costly, you're getting something out of it, and the manufacturer's saving a little bit on labor as well.
So I think it's an important aspect to remember too, that if you go back 15 years ago, an RV was a lot more simplistic, and the RV manufacturers, their piece of resistance, their specialty is making an amazing RV that looks like an apartment, and it has great fit outs and makes sense for you. But the reality is now in 2022, now we're getting more and more tech put into these platforms, as well as the RV itself. And we're expecting the RV manufacturers to still deliver the same performance, the same warranty, the same integration. But actually, you've got, really, let's think about it, multiple products from multiple engineers with, sophistication, and they've got to warrant this platform. We have to step it back. And the only way we're going to step it back is remove the technology completely and get the RV back to what it was, or we need to use technology to bring this back into harmonization. And there's a lot of industries trying to do that with RVCs, a CAN communication platform. We have to use technology to simplify the manufacturing process. Otherwise, manufacturers are just they're going to implode. The reality is they have to implode because they can't keep up with the technology integration. So it's our job to make sure that we make it dead easy for the manufacturer so they can do what they do best, make an amazing RV. But they can't do it all, right? We're expecting too much from our RV manufacturers now. We need to make their life easier.
Yeah, I want to be clear too. Andrew isn't here selling us anything because we can't buy his product. These are designed for the manufacturers to take on and build from the ground up with, which is hopefully going to happen and is very exciting to me. I know a lot of the manufacturers are working very diligently on. It's kind of like one of those things where nobody wants to do something and then somebody does it and then everybody has to compete with it. There's a lot of reluctance in the American RV industry from several of the manufacturers. Not all of them. Some of them are very tech forward, but some of them are very reluctant to make any change over time. And often we sit 20 years behind the rest of the world. But we're going to start seeing your products in RVs soon, I hope. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. So the goal is throughout 2023, certainly behind the curtains, let's say in early 2023, is that there'll be certainly a good handful of OEMs, internally, using this product and making sure it's fit for purpose in their solutions. As we sort of travel through 2023, some might declare what they're doing. Some may not. They may leave it all the way through to the dealer show again in September or SEMA. Who knows, right? It's their choice. I think the more important part is that we don't sell aftermarket. We sell only to OEMs. And we've been very specific about that at this point in time because we've engineered our solution and we want to work with our OEMs to engineer that into their products. So we're working as an engineering team. And it's important that when you work closely together, you maximize the result of electrification. That's really important. You can get the same result by, just, we call it in Australia, winging it or just, improvising and getting stuff jammed in. But the reality is that we're working with OEMs to make sure these new travel trailers and RVs work seamlessly well as a solution. And that's what's happening in the background. So while it might seem a little bit quiet, there's a lot of legwork being done in the background. So when this pops out next year, it's a very well fine-tuned system. And when we say it's going to go electric, the reality is it's actually going to go full electric very well. So that's what's happening in the background. You'll see that throughout 2023.
So talk to me about a little bit further down the road. We all, I think, understand batteries to an extent and the fact that we can run more and more things off of them. And hopefully we're going to be able to start running air conditioners off of them more and microwaves and stuff like that as capacity and efficiencies grows. What's the future look like for electrification? What are some of the other technologies that are down the road?
It's definitely, I would say, a turning point in this industry now as we turn towards electrification. It's not really now about the size of the inverter or the battery. They're just tools in the toolbox to electrify. So, the DCX system we have today is all about, like I said at the dealer show, our smallest battery will run your air conditioner all night long. That was the entry part to our product. We've then got the 14 kilowatt hour, which can do multiple air conditioners and do all electric sort of solutions into your RV. But what we're also working on as OzXCorp and all we work on, we're not distracted by anything, is electrification. So our roadmap has regen wheels. So as you're driving along, those wheels will regen that energy as you go up and down hills. So that's the first part of our technology roadmap that grabs that free energy that you would throw away in your brakes and puts it back into your battery for you to ready to use at your campsite. You've also got electric drive. So not only regen, but also driving technology as well. So then it starts to assist more specifically the electric pickup trucks. And we've seen all the media about how bad these pickup trucks are towing an RV that currently exists. Of course it is, because you're dragging a brick through the air and it uses a lot of energy, right? So there's going to be a part on the RV manufacturer side that they need to look at aerodynamics. Absolutely. The way these things look now will change. They have to change. And it's our job from a technology platform to start to reduce the burden of the travel trailer from the electric vehicle. But if you're running an ICE car, an internal combustion engine, like a Ram or something like that, our technology helps you save fuel anyway. So whether you're pro-green or pro-electric or you're an ICE vehicle, it doesn't really matter. We need to relook at the way we pull these travel trailers through the air and the way we do that efficiently, so that not only you get there with less fuel, because fuel's expensive now, but also look at the carbon footprint that's being created because of it. But also when you turn up to your off-grid park, actually the battery's 100%. So you didn't even need to really try and charge. You would have gathered that on all the lossy parts of your trip. So there's that. There's instantaneous electric hot water, which is a lot more efficient. There's incinerator toilets. There's all sorts of water regeneration. Actually, is a big one. You can now park up with your solar system, and we're demonstrating systems now in our electric platforms that have the ability to excuse my metric terminology, but make 90 liters of water a day. So that's a pretty good result, to have a shower and do all the things you need to do and not require lots of water tanks, but just recover that water free of charge from the sun. So when you turn the corner to electrification, this isn't a contest about the big battery or the big inverter. It's not even a contest. It's about pivoting to more types of technology to make that experience better. That's the key part. It's not a race. It's the ability to turn from what would have been the steam age to the fossil fuel age, from the fossil fuel age now to electrification, that opens up our RV experience to be, certainly I would say, a lot more independent and a lot more enjoyable.
You're also working on micro turbines, right? Which, to my understanding, is just sort of a better way of generating power through fossil fuels.
Yeah, so every time you get on an aircraft, at the very back of the aircraft, you'll see what's called an APU. It's an auxiliary power unit. It's a generator. We're bringing the same technology into RVs so that you'll have a little APU in the RV, because the reality is, we've got to be realists, right? The reality is that fossil fuels have an amazing energy density. And at the moment, we don't have that same energy density in batteries. It doesn't exist. And also, too, we're going to have cloudy days where we don't have power. And so we need to create this stepping stone. The next 10 years is a stepping stone of getting away from fossil fuels, but the reality is they're energy rich. And so an APU, a micro turbine, runs very efficiently. It's actually very quiet, and you get heating but also electricity out of the same unit. And it's really a quarter lighter than a piston-driven engine. And as we know, California is banning spark ignition as well. So having a very smart APU, the way we see it, is that most RVs that are going off grid or boondocking will require an APU that's very light and cost effective to bridge those gaps between no energy or having energy, or even complementing the wheels.
Well, Andrew Huett, this is all very exciting to me. I'm very much looking forward to seeing your products on RVs next year and beyond. I think you've done just a really great job of balancing the needs of customers and manufacturers, and understand that difficult line that needs to be walked in order to make this actually happen. And I'm excited also to see it coming from a third-party manufacturer and not necessarily an OEM trying to do it all on their own, which in the US sometimes leads to what I call set pieces, something that is there for you to buy but not use, right? So I'm very excited for the work you guys are doing at OzXCorp, or OzXCorp if you prefer. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate it, Jason. Thank you. And let's stay in touch. There's a lot more to come along the roadmap.
On every road trip, there are moments you wish could last forever. Your kids running into the ocean for the first time, that perfect campsite with views that amaze and surprise with every sunrise and sunset. Moment you spent time planning and you wish would never end. But like all good adventures, they do. But you know what doesn't have to end? your Road Pass Pro membership you use to plan that memory-making vacation. Grab your Road Pass Pro membership today and lock in the $49.99 price for life. This is the last price lock Road Pass will ever feature, so get it now before it's gone. Road Pass Pro has some of our favorite trip planning sites like Campendium and Road Trippers and the Togo RV app. Now, normally I tell you to use RV Miles 10X to get $10 off, but starting November 23rd, 2022, you can use code RVMiles25X, that's all one word, to get $25 off. That's 50% off the current $49.99 price. The folks at Road Pass have extended this offer exclusively to our RV Miles community, and it ends on December 8th, 2022. Save $25 now through December 8th with code RVMiles25X and lock in that price for life. That's RVMiles25X to get $25 off your Road Pass Pro membership. We are back, and our thanks to Andrew for sitting down with you and chatting. That was fantastic. I know you guys were on very different time zones.
Yes.
So that took a little bit of scheduling to get that all figured out. So it's really great that he could join us on the show. But now it is time to check the level of our tanks. Jason, what is in your black tank this week?
So when you were out of town,
oh no,
I made a quick run to Borders not Borders. Oh my gosh, what year is this?
Whoa.
To Barnes and Noble.
Why don't you just go to BAM while you're at it?
I went to Barnes and Noble to get a new pair of reading glasses because I have the ones I like, and I broke mine. They didn't have the ones I like, so I got some new ones, and that's a different story. The new ones are fantastic. But what I also got there was a lap desk, and I've been eyeing lap desks for a while. In order to be able to work outside, to sit in the bed and work, put the laptop on it and that sort of stuff. We've been thinking that they would be great for the kids on travel days and stuff like that. So I finally thought, well, let me try one out. And the selection of lap desks at Barnes & Noble is fantastic. They've come a long way with these things, right? A long way from a pad with a flat surface.
A pillow that you used to sit in your lap.
So this one's got a wrist rest. It's got a spot to use your mouse on, a spot to slot for your phone to go in, and I absolutely love it. I'm not going to recommend this specific one or brand or anything, but if you're looking for a solution for being able to work in your RV and don't have a great one, a lap desk is a really good option, and I'm enjoying using it, and so are the kids.
Wow, that feels like the most 40-year-old thing you've ever said on the show. As I sit here wearing my poncho.
I would like to remind you that you are older than me.
I am older than you, and you are very fortunate. All right. What is in your black tank this week?
My black tank is fuel station trickery. Now, we've traveled the country pretty extensively, been to all kinds of different types of fuel stations. And I've seen a couple things that I've been like, is there just something wrong here, or are they really trying to trick you? And I'm more convinced now that fuel stations are really trying to trick you. And I put a couple reels, shorts out about this, and some people have responded with some other things that have even convinced me a little bit more. So this particular station I was at in Kingman, Arizona, had 4 different types of gasoline. And what they did when you put your card in, you put your card in and they say, okay, press the octane button to select the type of fuel. In this one, pump also had diesel on it too. But the regular fuel, the lowest octane, did not flash, and neither did the diesel. The 2 mid grades and the premium flashed at you. And I was like, this is a subconscious thing, right? They're trying to get you to select the lowest price of the 3 that are flashing, but it's still not the cheapest fuel. Now, of course, you should be using the octane that is required for your vehicle. Vehicles require different octanes, and more expensive premium isn't necessarily better for your vehicle if your vehicle requires 85 or 87. I also learned that 85 octane, I never knew this. In the mountains, 85 octane is basically the same as 87. So you might see 85 in the high country as the lowest grade of fuel, because because of the elevation. It is the same as getting 87 elsewhere. Anyway, but we've also seen where sometimes they'll switch up the order of the octane buttons. So they might have the 87 in the middle and the 93 on the left and the 90 on the right, or the 91 on the right. And, trying to get people to select the left one when it's premium to pay a little bit more. That might be different on different pumps at the same station. But we've also seen some people in the comments now talk about how there are some stations that they might advertise a price on the sign, and then you get in there and it's like, only if you use a certain debit card that is, linked to us. Or we've all seen, obviously the credit only pricing or the cash only pricing, that sort of thing. So there are all these little things to watch out for. So make sure you're getting the right octane when you're at a fuel pump. And make sure that you're checking that the station that you're at is, is priced right within the area. It's okay to, select the gas company that you like and pay a few cents more. But this particular station was also about $1 cheaper than the one across the street. So, there you go. Anyway, what's in your black tank this week?
So my black tank goes to campgrounds that offer laundry but don't have change machines on site. Just drives me absolutely bonkers. So we are at we're in Las Vegas right now, and we are at this massive campground resort here in Vegas. And there are probably what they call comfort stations. There's at least 6, 7, 8 of them all around outside of the main. And they all feature, showers and restrooms and a laundry room. None of them offer any change whatsoever. There is no change to be found here at this campground. And they're all quarter machines. So if I want to do laundry, I have to go find somewhere that's going to break my 20 and give me some quarters so I can come back and use this. My thought is, if you can't provide the change machine, then maybe consider purchasing washers and dryers that will take debit cards.
Well, what blows my mind about that too is that usually the machines are rented.
Right.
And so there's a service that brings them in and they maintain them and all that sort of stuff. So the service should be, you're going to have fewer people using them if you don't provide a change machine.
At this point, sense. I figure I might as well just go find a laundromat and do it there because it'll be cheaper.
You're going to have to go out to get quarters anyway. You might as well bring the laundry out.
Right. So might as well just go get it all done at once and take 3 hours and wash 2 weeks worth of laundry and just be done, rather than go find quarters, come back and walk back and forth numerous times, because I refuse to be the person. I saw you yesterday in there who took all 4 of those washers and dryers and only ran 3 of them at one time and left the other one sitting there for over an hour and a half, not using it. Not okay. Don't take all the washers. When you go into there, if there are 4 and you have a lot of laundry, just take 2. Just take 2. Leave some for other people so that we can all wash our clothes together. It just makes me crazy. And we've been in a few private campgrounds recently, so campground laundry is on my mind a lot.
What's in your fresh tank?
So I just changed my fresh tank because I know, on the fly, because as I've been sitting here with you, looking at you this whole time, I thought to myself at one point, oh wow, I'm really glad his eyebrows are growing back in. So
Shut up.
So my fresh take this week, Jason, is that your eyebrows are growing in so nice. They look really lovely as I'm sitting here next to you. You are going to have eyebrows come back in. So congratulations, you.
If you missed this, I every like 6 months I trim my eyebrows because I get like I don't get like caterpillars. What I get is like these wiry individual hairs that stick out in weird directions and bend and kink, and it's very strange.
It's wild.
So every now and then, you know, I'll just, when I trim my beard, if I'm trimming my beard, I'll put you know, an attachment long enough on to just zip over my eyebrows and be done with it. And I had too short of an attachment on, and it took off half of one of my eyebrows. Therefore, I needed to match the other eyebrow to it, and it was not fun.
It wasn't. And I think if you go back and watch like a news video from a few weeks ago, you'll see it. Thank goodness he evened him out because he had really flipped that one side. But you know, if you were concerned, or if anyone was, that Jason's eyebrows were not going to come in, let us all give thanks on this Thanksgiving holiday that Jason's eyebrows are growing back in.
That's it for this week's episode of RV Miles. We hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving and you're prepped for a fantastic holiday season, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.